From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big noontime here on LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we could go over that monthly stimulus check and why the breaking news is so incredible. A call for a vote faster than initially thought, and a call with a letter to say we're putting multiple stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. I go over not one, but four major breaking news stories happening right now about the monthly stimulus check, that fourth stimulus check, the biggest single payout you'll ever see in the history of this channel. It's incredibly great news at noontime. Then in the second half of this recording, we go over the fifth stimulus package that'll raise your benefits up a lifetime, and then we'll add a new benchmark. Will that benchmark be 20% or 7% or 5%? We go over all the breaking news about that as well. And then in the middle of this recording, thousands of dollars land in your bank account, and more people getting it next week. It's all really incredible great news, and I'll have all the details as we go into the noontime, starting right now, right this moment, direct from Los Angeles. This is Noontime LALATE. Hey, good noontime, everybody. How you doing? It's Sunday afternoon, and I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful day. How's the weather where you are? Tell me where you're watching from, and how's the weather? And if you're in South Carolina at the PGA Championship, rub it in my face, because that looks gorgeous there. I wish I was there on that beautiful island watching that golf tournament. So tell me where you are. And this is Noontime LA with big, incredible news about your fourth stimulus check of 2021, that multiple stimulus check. In this update, we'll go over the amount, and then we're going to go over the breaking news, and boy, it is absolutely incredible about the vote, about the call to get it in there, and everything additional. I have not one, but four major breaking news stories about fourth stimulus in this recording. Then the second half of this recording, we go over fifth stimulus, the big exciting raise of your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and survivor benefits. I have all those details and the breaking news on that as well. And then the middle of this recording, we go over the big money land in your bank account, some next week as well, and some in the mailbox. And something new you're going to hear only now on Noontime about that check. So make sure you subscribe. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoon. I'm next with you with Afternoons LALATE at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then with Evenings LALATE, followed by Evenings Crypto. So make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, next stop, 1 million. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. Later in this video, I'll explain to you the importance of a membership, especially when we're talking about fifth stimulus. Let's go right to that fourth stimulus check and that monthly stimulus check by understanding how much it is and who are the authors and why that author's name is so important. Jalapal. Jalapal wrote the House bill which provides a monthly stimulus check. And Jalapal is a name I want you to remember because I'm going to be touching back on that in just a second. Jalapal's bill provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. That means that if the pandemic has 2 more months to it, you would get 2 months plus 1 year, 14 months of stimulus checks. The Senate proposal is a stimulus check from now to December or July to December. And then if you're in the live chat just after about 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, get ready to vote House or Senate, but not just yet. We want to look at those amounts on a monthly basis. The House proposal provides a stimulus check of $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. And while the Senate amount is unknown, word on the street is it's this. Wow. $2,000 a month, an individual. Over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400 an individual. Now, before you vote, let's go back to understand why Jalapal's provision, pandemic plus 1 year, is getting an interesting twist. Many insiders believe that the pandemic for legislative purposes, not for medicine, but legislative purposes, may be done by the time the vote is called. That would suggest that the House proposal would not provide pandemic plus 1 year, but just 1 year. 1 year of stimulus checks on the House proposals under their bill is $13,000 from Jalapal. The Senate proposal is nearly the same amount, just in half the amount of time, 6 months versus 1 year. So now jump into the live chat if you're watching this when you're watching it live, and vote House or Senate. And if you're watching it taped, drop in the comments and write Senate or House. Which one do you like? Also tell me where you're from. I'd love to see it as well. So let's go over more about how you get this forced stimulus check, who gets it, how much it is, and all the details exciting at noontime. First, who gets it? You do. So if you got the third stimulus check, you would get the fourth stimulus check. $75,000 or less, single individual, you get the fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Just double it. Household, 4 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. And yes, if this is the Brady Bunch, Marsh and Jan do not get a check. It's all limited to family of 4. And then if you're on benefits, yes, you get the fourth stimulus check. So if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, or survivor benefits, you would get the fourth stimulus check. Next, is there a different amount of stimulus check for adult dependents and other people? No. So adult dependents, minor dependents, everyone else getting the same amount of a stimulus check. Remember, I'm a reporter. I'm not a legislator. They make the representations, and they represent the vote will be by July 4th. That means that the first stimulus check would go out in the month of July, for the month of July, and then would continue month after month thereafter. August for August. There would be no waves of stimulus checks because there's no time to do waves. Stimulus checks would not come out in stages. They would just come out month after month. Is it taxable? No. It's not income. Is it taken out for child support? We don't know just yet. And then finally, this is a 2-step, 2-bill, 2-month process already underway. And there you go. But guess what? There is not one, but 4 major breaking details and news elements about these multiple stimulus checks, which I'm going to go over in this recording. But that's coming up in just a second. First, let me give you a preview of the second half of this recording. Over this 30 minutes, I'm going to get you a lot of money. So I want you to get a pen and paper ready because I have a lot of money to get you over this entire recording, $5,000 to $20,000 of money. So get ready and stay with me to the very end because I have surprises of money all across this entire recording. In the second half of the show, we're going to go over the fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up. That's if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, and then it attaches a new benchmark, inflation. Now, if the inflation rate is 5, 20, 12, 6%, then your benefits are stepped up. But we see new indication today about where the inflation rate may be, and that's coming up in the second half of this recording. All right, let's go turn to some big money that's available for you right now. And that money is about $5,000 to $25,000. What is it from? The third stimulus, not the fourth, but the third stimulus. When the third stimulus was passed, the federal government allocated this money, but it hasn't landed until now. $350 billion is landing in your city, counties, and states last week and next week, so go get it. And the first one you want to get is rent. Rent is about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. There's also $100 to couple $1,000 of money for utilities, homeowners mortgage, and or homeowners utilities. Where do you get it? I hope you have that pen and paper ready. We're going to go over all the details. 6 locations: City Hall, City Housing Authority; County Hall, County Housing Authority; State Hall, State Housing Authority. What are the keywords you say? Rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. You do not use the word stimulus. Here's what's important to know. Every location has different eligibility. So you may get a no at one step, go to the next one. They may give you a yes. And they also have different pots of money. So go get it. This was money dedicated to you under the third stimulus. $5,000 for rent, but guess what? I got more for you. A family of 4 in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year now because of SNAP. What's SNAP? It's money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture, DOA, which you can also reach by calling 211. So this money for food is absolutely incredible. Why so much money for SNAP? Because of 2 executive orders, which raises everyone's SNAP benefits from January to December of this year up 15%. So reach out and get those SNAP benefits. It's a fortune. It really is. So how are we doing? Wow, $16,000 for SNAP and $5,000 for rent, and we are only 9-10 minutes into this video. We are doing very well. But boy, I got some other money for you, and it's absolutely wonderful, and it's automatic, and let's get to it. It's not one, but two of them. Number one. A fortune is coming back from your state. In case of one viewer, he got 5,000. He's getting $5,000. So let's go over what it is, how much it is, then how do you get it, and finally, when do you get it? First, what is it? The federal government has ordered states to return back to you excess money that they paid you for unemployment and then told you to return to them due to a computer malfeasance. So let's go over an example. States had overpaid some millions of Americans excess money for unemployment and then said they had a computer error and that you were ordered to return the money back to the state. And you did. Well, the federal government has stepped in and said that was an error. That was your money, citizens' money to keep. You should not have had to return it to your state. So the states have now been ordered to return that money to you. So the second question is, how do I get this money? It will land in the bank account that you have on file with your Department of Unemployment. Finally, when? Every state is different. So reach out to your respective state to know the routing times. Some states have started, some states have not. All right, time for some other great money, and this is absolutely incredible. One viewer's already gotten $2,000 of this money, and it's money coming this time from the federal government, IRS and Treasury. How much is it? I'm going to go over that first. Then how do you get it? And I'm going to give you new details for the first time you're seeing on Sunday here on LALATE, how you're going to get it. And then finally, when are you going to get it? All right, first let's go over the exciting great news about how much money this is. This is the amount of taxes you paid on your 2020 tax returns to IRS for your unemployment benefits. So let's say, for example, your total unemployment benefits was $9,000. You filed a federal tax return 2020. Your total tax bill was $5,000, of which $4,000 was your tax burden on unemployment benefits you paid to IRS. You're getting back a check of $4,000. Congratulations. One viewer's already gotten $2,000. All right, next. How do you get it? And this is new details you're hearing for the first time on noontime. The check will likely come in the mail unless you had a direct deposit listed on your 2020 return. So the check that goes in the mail will be a beige or white envelope, and inside will be a beige check from Department of Treasury or IRS written to you, subject line refund. Now, this is what's really important to know about, and you're hearing this for the first time today on LA, is that if you don't usually get these checks, you don't know what they look like in the envelope form. They are literally razor thin envelopes. They are razor thin envelopes. So if you have a mail carrier, which unfortunately delivers you a lot of discount coupons from the supermarket or the local pharmacy and just a lot of throwaways, and that mail carrier just slides checks into things, you need to be very careful because these checks from Treasury are razor thin. And if you don't go carefully through the mail, you may miss that check and it could be thousands of dollars, far more than a stimulus check. So between now and the end of May and maybe the first week of June, you want to really be careful in looking at that mail to make sure that check is not displaced. Finally, when? Yes, all checks are being sent out by Treasury by the end of May. So some of you may be getting the first day or two in June as well. There's phase 1, which was sent out last week. Phase 2, which started last week, goes into the early part of this week. And then phase 3, the end of this week. All three phases are paid by the end of May. Phase 1 is single filers that have no dependents and have no complex returns on that 2020 return. Phase 2 are single filers with complex returns, like dependents. And phase 3 are joint filers. That is the stages in which you're getting these incredible checks. All right, time for some great, really jaw-dropping, incredible great news, and it comes from your legislators. There is not one, but 4 major breaking news stories about your 4th stimulus check, those monthly stimulus checks. And I'm going to go through chronologically the 4 of them, one at a time. I'm going to start first with Jalapal. Yes. So Jalapal, as you saw earlier in this recording, is the legislator in the House who wrote the monthly stimulus check bill that provides a stimulus check every month for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year at $1,000 after the first month. When Jalapal wrote that bill prompted hundreds of House Democrats to write letters of support for the bill, and Senate Democrats as well, saying that they would either do their own or support Jalapal. Well, guess what Jalapal did this week? Jolapal wrote a new letter, and the letter was to Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi. And the letter was co-signed by many of the same Democrats who co-signed the multiple stimulus check bill. What does the letter say? Just call the vote. Start the vote now. What are we waiting for the vote? What Jolapal is referring to is the two-bill, two-step, two-month reconciliation process, which has already been written and is nearly finished being written. And Jolapal is just saying, why are we waiting around for the Republicans? Just call the vote. What's at issue here is what's gone on between the president and the Republicans. During the scope of this fourth stimulus negotiations, there's been no movement by either side. The Republicans are still at their initial offering price of $500 billion, which is not going to be accepted by the president. It has not. So Jolapal says, why are we waiting around? Call the vote. We call the vote right now. This is incredible, great news. All right, let's now go to the second great element of news, and that is this letter, which came out late this last week. And the letter is written by 7 members of the House to the president, saying to the president that they are going to work with him to put the multiple stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. It's incredible, great news, but it actually gets better than that. Who are these 7 members? They are members of the House Ways and Means Committee that actually writes legislation for stimulus checks for all the stimulus packages. The House Ways and Means Committee is responsible for stimulus check writing and unemployment writings every time there's a stimulus package. That's the committee that's delegated that duty. And they actually state that they, in this letter to the president, that they are going to work with him to put multiple stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. As if Captain Obvious couldn't walk through the stat. That is about as obvious as it gets. Now, the president on Friday also made third great news for us. And that third breaking news was the president basically said, we're going to reconciliation. How did he say it? In his own unique way, which was the following. The president's proposal for fourth stimulus has had a price tag. And on Friday, what he did was he said to the Republicans who have not moved on their price tag that ostensibly he's not moving on his price tag, but it's found that $600 billion of his total package was already delegated to another bill that's up for a vote. So he said, I don't have to double count. I'll dedicate that money in something else, which is basically a letter plus you and saying, I'm going to a reconciliation. I'm not waiting around anymore. So what's important to understand about this is that the president has made his mind up that the reconciliation will begin. When will the reconciliation begin? For purposes of the vote, not for purposes of the legislation. Remember, the Senate and House subcommittees have already been writing the legislation, and they are nearly finished. That's why they're ready to call the vote. When does the president want the vote? Right after Memorial Day weekend. The president has made clear that he'll continue to have lunches every day with the Republicans to hear whether there's any movement, but will stop those luncheons right before Memorial Day weekend. As one viewer said, oh no, that's September. I'm like, no, that's Labor Day. And another viewer says, he just wants to have lunches on our price tag. Well, it must be very good chicken. I don't know. But he wants to have those lunches all the way up to Memorial Day weekend. And then the vote goes. So really incredible, great news. And finally, if it couldn't be any better than that, Democrats, both House and Senate, who rarely give you updates about what they're doing for legislation until they call the vote or actually vote on it, as AOC once said. They just give you the bill and tell you to vote and you don't have time to even look at it. They actually came out this week and said, call the vote. We're done. It's time to go. Let's get it done. And let's go over those incredible comments across the board. And what's important to remind you of, which I haven't mentioned, I think about 2 days, is that these legislators don't want to wait to July. They rather be on vacation because they do go on vacation in July. So if they can get this done in June for their own particular purpose, not for yours, they rather be home or on their vacation home. And yes, if it gets done in June, you get an extra stimulus check. So let's go over the incredible statements. Senator Kristen Gillibrand, a Democrat out of New York, says, when asked whether the Democrats should wait another minute to call the vote, absolutely not, because we may lose our coalition for human infrastructure. I don't think the White House should relegate recovery to the judgment of Mitch McConnell, because McConnell will not function in good faith. Then Ruben Gallego, Democrat out of Arizona, told News that Republicans are not even being players and Democrats should just move on without them, meaning call the vote on the reconciliation. Representative Mark Pocan, Democrat out of Wisconsin, says, at what point do Republicans seriously come to the negotiation table? If Republicans don't come to the table, Democrats don't. It doesn't mean Democrats don't serve the meal. That's referring to the fourth stimulus package. And then Senator Majority Whip Dick Durbin says Democrats ought to continue to do negotiations with Republicans, but we need to be prepared to finish with reconciliation. Wow. And then finally, we have Representative Ro Khanna out of California, and Ro Khanna doesn't mince words here. I think Democrats should just move forward on our bill. That's about as blunt as it can be. So there you go. A potential faster vote, an indication for the president that the negotiations stop on a particular day. And now the writings from not only the House bill, but also the House Ways and Means Committee for the multiple stimulus checks. It doesn't get any better than this. But if you need money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, or homeowners assistance, like utility bills, reach out to the volunteers. They're in the community page. Where's the community page? It's in the description to this video. Open the description and you'll see an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of the house is the community page. It sends you a link to news.lalate.com/community. On the community page, that web page, is a picture of some cats. Below that page is a series of volunteers, viewers just like you, that can help you get that rent, utilities. If you're having problems finding it, first, of course, look for it yourself. And they're available to reach out to. Here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back in 60 seconds with that big surprise about what may also be in the fourth stimulus. Oh boy, no one saw this coming. I certainly didn't. And the big exciting details about that SSI and SSDI reform in the fifth stimulus. Stay with me. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Noontime LALATE with incredible news still coming up on the second half of this recording. Fifth stimulus heats up in the second half of this recording when we go over how much you're going to get as this latest reconciliation bill heats up in the fall. Then we'll circle back to fourth stimulus and the big exciting news across the board. This is LALATE. You want to subscribe to this channel because you're going to get all the incredible information across the board. And never get confused, like that one viewer, Patsy, who got confused during the live chat where she talked about the July check, which is third stimulus, not fourth stimulus. So make sure you subscribe. Also like this video and consider becoming a member. In a little bit, I'll discuss why it's important to become a member. Let's cut to the exciting details about fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus heats up this fall. And fifth stimulus is the latest reconciliation package from the Democrats. It starts in September. Let's go over broadly how it works, and then we'll go over the specifics. First, it will increase your benefit limits, then remove the asset limit, then add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and then remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over the specifics of how this works. First, they're going to raise up your benefits. Who's you? If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or multiple benefits. Your benefits will be raised up to a big new benchmark is what they represent. Then you'll be raised up to a big new number. Then they're going to attach a new benchmark. The benchmark will be inflation. Now, everyone understands inflation, but let me explain how a benchmark works. Every December, approximately, you receive a letter that says, next year, your benefits will step up this amount. Well, the new benchmark will be inflation. And over the last few weeks, and certainly all the way until December, we'll be tracking where inflation may land. Jeremy Siegel, a week ago, said that inflation could be 20%. If 20% was the inflation rate in December, that would mean your benefits would step up an additional 20% after the big bill raises them up. But 20% may be a little bit on the high end. So what else could be the potential inflation rate? The head of the Federal Reserve out of Georgia this week said that he would not tell us the inflationary rate, but would at least give us the growth rate. Currently 4%, expecting 10.5% by December. That sounds like about a 5 to 7% inflation rate. And over the last 2 days, a series of analysts have appeared on broadcast news and said they don't think inflation is going to be 2.5% or 3% by December. They think it's going to be somewhere between 5 to 7% approximately. So, wow, this is incredible, great news. Let's see how this would work. First, fifth stimulus would raise up benefits. Then let's say the inflation rate is, let's say 7% in December. Then you would get a letter that say next year benefits step up 7%. The way benefits step up is they step up and always stay at that level. They never step down. So let's say the year after this, it's 0. You don't step down, you stay at plus 7%. And if the year after this, it's 2% more, then you step up another 2%. It's incredible, great news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits and have more than about $3,000 in hand in the bank account. Good news before you get those multiple stimulus checks. And then they're going to remove the income cap. It's going to go away, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also work. So if you want to work $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, you can go work and also stay on benefits. And finally, the horrible, horrible marriage penalty. The marriage penalty would go away. The marriage penalty penalizes you if you get married. You lose your benefits. So what are they going to do? They're going to end the marriage penalty. And love will win. You'll be able to marry your lifetime partner, not lose benefits. And if you are married and have suffered from the marriage penalty, you will no longer suffer from it. Incredible, great news. So when is fifth stimulus going to heat up? In September. It's a two-bill, two-step month process, likely to impact your benefits around November. And then that step up, of course, you would get the notification for January. Now, one of the reasons it's important to become a member is to see how certain items have details far beyond the scope of a 30-minute recording. Fifth stimulus has also provisions in there for single individuals, for hazard pay, for seniors, for medical assistance, and more. So there's a lot of other items in fifth stimulus which I can't cover in just a 30-minute video. Members of this channel with membership get a link every day that delineates everything that's in each of the stimulus packages, like the fifth stimulus, beyond the scope of this recording. It also keeps you informed about what's in the third stimulus, what's in the fourth, and what's in the fifth. For example, during the commercial break, Patsy dropped a negative comment and said the only checks going out in the month of July are children's checks. That's from the third stimulus. There's a lot of things still going out from the third stimulus package, and those are going out in July. We're talking about fourth stimulus, which actually goes for a vote in the month of July. And guess what? There's also a budget bill that goes for a vote in the month of July. And as we get close to that, if there's anything that impacts the viewers of this channel, which at the moment it does not because it's not a stimulus bill, I'll delineate that to you as well. That's why it's important to keep separated every single bill because they do overlap. All right, now let's circle back to the exciting great news about fourth stimulus. The exciting great news about fourth stimulus is that there may be one thing added in there that no one saw coming. Wow. Now, FPUC has been a topic of discussion because it's voluntary for states to elect to choose FPUC or not. And we certainly know what's going on with certain states about that. But that letter from those 7 members of the House Ways and Means Committee that oversees unemployment stimuluses in the first, second, and third stimulus package said to the president that they're going to work with him to extend federal unemployment benefits. Wow, this is a shocker. Now, it's a very fluid situation to understand which they can legally do and which they cannot. But PEUC, PUA may get extended by the federal government and may have a more restrictive quality in there that requires states to continue PEUC or PUA rather than a voluntary provision. We have to see. This is still playing out. Very fluid situation, but very great news. But it's important for you to understand the not so great news, which is that rental stimulus and homeowners stimulus is not coming back under forced stimulus. So I want you to get that money right now, detailed early in this video. The eviction moratorium and the mortgage forbearance will be lifted. It won't be brought back. There's no indication it will. So I want you to get that money because it's a lot of money. It's first come, first serve. And the money is landing right now and it won't be offered again. But the really great news going into this afternoon is that legislators, Democrats, more Democrats, have made it very clear multiple stimulus checks are needed. Why? Because whether you're a senior, retired, working, single person, or married couple, the pandemic has created bills. And let's use an example. Husband and wife who lost their job during the pandemic but have gotten back to work, that are now working, are still behind on their bills. Those bills have piled up from the pandemic. And what Democrats and ironically now Republicans also agree is that the only stimulus instrument that works perfectly to get people caught up on their bills, even when they're back to work, even when the pandemic is ending, and even when the mask mandate is ending, is multiple stimulus checks. A big cash infusion, like potentially the Senate proposal, gets people back to normal as quickly as possible, wiping out those debts, getting people caught up on their bills as quickly as possible. And with that, I really appreciate all your love and support. I'm back with you later today with Afternoons LA. Join me for that exciting detail. And that is at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, followed by Evenings LA, 2 hours after that, and then Evenings Crypto, followed by Overnights Crypto. Subscribe, because this is LA, the only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week financial news channel, giving you all the information you need to get from point A to point B. Also like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member so that you have access to all the provisions, all the separate bills, and yeah, they do overlap. You want to stay informed, stay focused, and stay motivated, and stay positive. And with that, I look forward to seeing you on Afternoons LA. And if you missed early mornings and mornings LA shows, they're currently now archived on the channel. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning, and stay with LA for more.